For those who have followed my content for a period now, will have identified one of the fundamentals that I commonly refer to in that you are in control. And what's really important to acknowledge within that fundamental is that you can only control you. You cannot control the uncontrollable, right? So when you are in a situation where you are surrounded by things that you can't control, you're surrounded by chaos, you're surrounded by people doing this or events happening around you, none of that you can do anything about, but when you pull all the way in, you can control what you are vibrating, because what you are vibrating through your emotions is a signal being sent out that you are attracting. Now, if you are focusing on, say, what is happening in the world, let's say COVID, for example. If you are focusing on what is happening with COVID, there's going to be a fair amount of chaos happening within you. There's going to be a fair amount of fear being felt within you, because that is what is being reflected from the outside and being compressed into you, or vibrated onto you. So when you take that concept and you center yourself to think, what am I focusing on that I can control? So rather than focusing on the chaos that's around you that you can't control, what can I control within me? Am I gaining any benefit here, being afraid or being fearful or being overwhelmed, being flustered, whatever, by the environment around me? No, you can't. But you can control you and your emotions. So you then directly go in to ask yourself again, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on being happy, or are you focusing on being fearful? Are you focusing on being on achieving something, or are you focusing on just every day at a time, one thing at a time? Because when you are only focusing on now, which can be a common I think misconception of the very common encouragement that is around that, be present in the now, like appreciate the now. Yes, definitely appreciate the now, but if you focus too much on the now, you're going to become stagnant. And when you become stagnant, your mind becomes still. It's repeating the same thing over and over. Therefore, it's going to allow you to drift off into being influenced by whatever else is happening around you, the worry, the fear, the negative emotions, and environment that is happening. So when you are moving those thoughts, when you are directing your focus onto something else, you are focusing on the future. So yes, focusing on now, on being grateful, etc., for where you are right now, but spending the majority of your thinking time on the future, because what you focus on grows. And if you're focusing on now being every moment between now and now, then your likely momentum is not going to take hold. Whereas if you're focusing on the past, which is everything before now, then obviously that's going to shift your focus to the past, and everything in the past is generally what you pull through from the past is directly correlated to the fear that is around you. I hope that all makes sense. Unless you are reflecting on the past, on positive emotions, like maybe like on something that you've achieved really well, or something in the past that's created a lot of joy and happiness, then that is going to be utilized for your state right now. And if you choose to empower yourself and use that directly into the future, because it is just a state which is based off your emotions. Okay, so back to focusing on what you can control, and what you can control is your emotions. So if you are thinking about being happy, if you are thinking about the future, and hopefully I would expect that when you're thinking about the future, you're thinking about something that is that you are creating. You're not falling over your feet and hoping that you don't land in a puddle. You're focusing on creating what you want to create. Because if you aren't intentional and purposeful about what you want to create, you will do exactly that. You will take every step at a time, every day at a time, and you will likely find yourself landing flat in a puddle, simply by random attraction, because your thoughts are not being put anywhere. And again, I use this metaphor quite a lot. You're throwing shit at the wall and hoping that it looks good. Whereas if you are directing your focus and intent towards something, then all of the things that are being attracted to you, all of the situations that are taking place around you are for a purposeful reason. And so then you will find yourself not focusing on the chaos, fear, drama, people around you that are not in alignment with you. You're solely focused on your future, on who you are, and becoming that future. And therefore your path is laid out nice and smooth. I hope that all makes sense. So again, when you think about when you're thinking about or find yourself thinking about negative things, like what is happening around you, within, people or other people, always stop and reset and ask yourself, what am I focusing on here and how is it benefiting me? Because it never, ever, ever, ever benefits you to focus on what other people are doing and what, either positive or negative, actually that's not true, I'm focusing on people around you who are potentially annoying you, whatever, or focusing on the future that is worrisome or implying that something bad might happen. It's not going to benefit you in any way. If you are to, and why I changed what I said before about your other people, good and bad, people are doing good and bad. If you have somebody around you that is good, then jump on that bandwagon. That is who we want to be influenced by. That is the energy, the mindset that we want to be influenced by. So definitely draw your attention to them and find out what are they doing that you're not. And as soon as you discover what that is, then start making those changes within you. That is why we always surround ourselves with people that are in a better situation than we are. And that's financially, relationships, career, everything around you. Always put yourself into a position where there's others ahead of you, because if you are the kingpin, if you are the glory of your world, then you're going to find yourself capping your potential majorly, because there's nowhere else for you to step up into. So you could use that example as if you were in a, and I use this for myself, if you were in a group fitness class and it was full of, say, new mums and they've just had babies, so things, the momentum and intensity of the class isn't like full throttle, versus entering a class of elite athletes. You can imagine that the energy, the pace, the intensity of the two groups are going to be completely different. So you want to step yourself depending on where you're at. Like if you are wanting to, if it's safe and sensible for you to, you want to be challenging yourself at the highest degree in that example. All right, so I hope that what I've spoken about today can help you, especially if you are in that position where you are worrying and fearsome. Because again, as I said before, it really doesn't do you any good. Yes, you can set up plans to safeguard you from if anything happens, but at the same time, you've got to ask yourself, how much do you trust yourself that you can manage whatever is thrown at you? Because everything is always working out for you. Everything is always working out for you. So trusting yourself, focusing on the future, being grateful for the now, and controlling what you can control, which is you and your emotions. And you will find yourself in a much more peaceful state of mind, as well as those around you that you potentially live with or surrounded by, who may also be caught up in the chaos and flow of Dramaville.